Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for The Path. This is Season 1, Episode 3, A Homecoming. So join us as we recap the show and share our opinions. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Love this song. So appropriate. So I stole this song from the trailer of The Path. It was so appropriate. So perfect.
Great choice.
Love it. This is White Winter Hymnal by Fleet Foxes. There's also a Pentatonics version, so we're going to get that next week, guys. You're welcome. All right, you guys, this is The Path, Season 1, Episode 3, A Homecoming. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Susannah Kim. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH. And where can I find you guys?
Hey, I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's ZOE Said What. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting. So hey, when you comment on our video there, make sure you tag me so I will respond.
Awesome. And I'm Miaira Jennings. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miaira Jennings.
Yes, yes. All right, you guys. So first I want to start with some thank yous. We had some views on our video last week.
Yeah.
It's a new show, so it's going to take a while to catch on, but we had 10 likes, so thank you to all of you guys that liked our video.
Yay!
Thumbs up.
You guys get a round of applause for making us happy.
And then also want to give a special thanks to Rather Like Hearts, who commented on our video, sharing some of the theories, and you guys talked and gave some of your thoughts on that. So thank you guys so much for that. We love that. So getting into the show, what did you guys think? Overall thoughts for the third episode?
I thought it was pretty good. I think we got a little bit deeper into the strengths and weaknesses of everyone, the different characters and their relationships with Miarism and their struggles. So it was definitely a good episode. Nice change of pace.
And I felt like I was sitting on the edge of my seat the entire time. I mean, this episode made me so anxious. There's no other way to put it. I kept waiting. There was so much tension, I thought. So I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it felt like, where is it going to be? Every storyline had something.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I felt like I loved Michelle Monaghan in this episode.
Yeah.
She was amazing. She had some great parts. And yeah, it's just really getting into these characters' lives and what makes them tick, especially Cal. So we open up with Cal in Cusco, Peru again. We see that he's at Dr. Meyer's bedside, and the dude does not look good.
Not at all.
He's ready to go. We see Cal's pretty reluctant to pray for Dr. Meyer. What did you guys think of that? What did you think was his mentality behind that?
Yeah, that was interesting. My initial reaction to that was that he was maybe having doubts because of his leader that he looked to as a father figure is having such health issues. So I was thinking, well, is he having doubts about the light and, why isn't this man being helped? Why isn't he healing? So that was my initial thought. And then I thought, well, he could take over. So why would he want him to get better? So I'm that's not really in his character. So that's definitely what I was leaning to, especially after the end of the episode, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he was like, oh, knock, knock, Power's here. So he was ready to, off Meyer himself just to step up. I mean, I don't think he would have gone that far. I am joking. But I did get it was the impression, especially, as the episode went on, and even based on what we saw in the first two episodes, that it was the same thing, that growing power.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, he's kind of doubting Miarism. We have someone else who's kind of curious about Miarism. We have Detective Sam, who's definitely delving into this. He's kind of interviewing, I guess, with, what is that, the camp counselor, that guy? The little guy?
Sure what his role. I think he's some kind of counselor, guidance mentor or something.
I thought that he was there to try and get information for his case against them.
Yeah, I think it came across to me that he was going undercover in a way.
Yeah, sort of.
Maybe posing as a potential, member of this group. I don't know. But it's interesting that he was being recorded the whole time. I mean, how weird is that?
Right. Right. Why do you guys think that was? Is it like a Myerism thing? They're going to use that later? Or?
I think so.
I think
I
so.
think they are very smart in how they interact with everybody who comes through there.
And it's intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being recorded right now, don't
I
you
know, yeah, right? I'm a little nervous. No, totally. And I liked that he totally honed in on his 3 words were curiosity, pain, and hope. He got that right in the head. He knows exactly the kind of people that these, Myrists are preying on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are like preying on. So he hit that right in the head. So I kind of like that.
Praying like Prey.
We also see later that he visits Mary's dad. So we didn't get a lot of Mary this episode, right? We
we
saw her a
didn't.
couple times, but he did visit her daddy in the hospital. What did you guys think of that? I was kind of like, I didn't know how to feel about that. Right? Because he was like
Are we
totally
talking about Cal?
Yeah, no, Detective Sam.
Oh,
when he went to go visit
Right.
Mary's dad in the hospital, he was kind of like empathizing with him. He was like, I know, I have kids and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, but do you touch your kids?
I don't think he knows.
Okay, so he
That's
doesn't
what
know,
made it
right?
so creepy that I thought it was like out of the frying pan into the fire that he's saying, don't worry, I'm bringing your daughter back. And that bringing the daughter back is even perhaps worse. It was like, oh, shake it off. I felt so gross.
That was an interesting point. And he also made it a point to mention that, it's not going to be overnight because I'm going for something much deeper than just, a simple sentence. I'm looking into these people and I want a longer sentence for this guy. So, I mean, I don't know what he's looking for and I don't know what he's going to find, but it's going to be pretty serious.
Yeah, right. He's going after the whole system. It seems like, I love it.
Yeah.
So another outsider who's kind of looking into Myra, or not looking into, but is sort of curious about it is Ashley. We have Ashley at school. We find out that she's been showering at school and using Hawk as sort of a lookout, I guess. I thought that was kind of like, I don't totally understand all of her decisions. Last time I was like, oh, she's going to bring that box to school. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much, Sam needed to be there as a lookout,
I thought the same thing. I mean, I get that if she has to take a shower at school. I don't know if I would necessarily be embarrassed. I don't know if people would ask me why I'm taking a shower.
And not to mention, if someone came by, what is he going to really do? Right? Girl, get out. Right? I didn't know what the point of that was exactly.
Yeah, but it served its purpose, I guess, for the context of her situation at home. But I get what you're saying. It could have been a little different.
Right.
There's something uncomfortable about that relationship, and there's something uncomfortable in all of the relationships, but it's different in this
a little
but it's different in this relationship in particular. And it's because everything else maybe has a logical feel or a logical conclusion to that relationship, like the feel of a closed circle. Of course this would happen next type of feeling.
Right.
But with them, like you said, couldn't she bring the box to school? And that feeling when she looked in the mailbox and saw the bills, that it was questionable, like, is she stealing the bills? Like, what is happening? So there are lots of things that feel strange about. Maybe it's because she's supposed to be the quote-unquote normal one. And maybe that's what it is, that our normal person to cling to is not. And something else, just backing up for a sec to the hospital scene, another thing that it could prove is that it shows that there's not an all good or all evil person really in any of us, that it's much more gray. So that's another way of looking at it too.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Shamelessly. And then so Hawk tries to kind of explain, what Myerism is, what their thoughts are on the adolescent brain, saying that it's HS. I love all their little
I know these terms.
It's hypersensitive brain.
And were we all waiting for the definition too?
Yeah,
Come on, what is HS?
It's high school.
That's all I heard.
Right, the brain would be in high school. You're right, Meyer. You got that. But he's like, don't you pray? And then he's like, to who? And it kind of strikes her. So do you guys feel like in this relationship, does it feel like maybe Hawk is pulling Ashley into Myerism, or do you feel like Ashley's sort of pulling Hawk out? Where do you think that?
I think, honestly, I got the vibe this episode that he was questioning things a little bit.
Okay.
Honestly, he's coming home. You can see there's tension between him and his community members when he gets home, and he doesn't really want to talk a lot. And we see the scene where he's praying. He's like, please, show me the light. I don't remember the exact wording. Show me the light. Show me the right. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think his interactions with Ashley are influencing his thoughts in a sense that he wants more answers for her questions. Maybe he doesn't have all the explanations he needs to really show her Miarism is real, and I truly believe in this. Maybe he's searching for answers for himself too. I don't know, but I think he may be faltering a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's really interested in joining at this point. I don't get that from her. Do you?
I mean, just that second when he was like, who do you pray to? And she was like, good question. That was the only moment I was like, oh, maybe she's interested in that.
Right. Before, I wouldn't have said there was a tug. I would have said, oh, it's all her pulling him away.
Yeah.
But then that second, right, made me go, oh, there's maybe a little tug back where he's trying to pull her in. You know, maybe even subconsciously, but that he's pulling her in. Yeah. Because I mean, she's getting him to do things that he knows are against his faith. And then we get that little kiss, too.
Yeah.
Which was like, oh, bad boy.
Yeah. So what triggered that was he goes out in the middle of the night. You're saying that he was praying. He prayed on it and was looking at the eye or whatever. And I guess it triggered, generators.
Get the generator.
I don't know how he did it, but he took a generator to his house. It was so dark. Did anyone else think that was so... I was like, how old am I?
I was not sure what he was doing.
I know a lot of people don't watch The Walking Dead because it's like too dark. I felt the same way. This scene I could not see. But basically he provided power to her house.
It's so funny you say that because from the very first episode I've been watching on my laptop, I've had to turn the light all the way up because it was so dark.
That is me all the way. Okay, so we're all in agreement about that. It's not us.
Alone, the speaker is all the way up, so I just put headphones on. The light I can't get past.
So it has to be that they just shot it all really dark for all three of us to say that. Because, I didn't even catch that at first on mine. And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe I should try turning my screen brighter and then I'll be able to see things. And so my screen was actually still equally as bright for this episode. I had forgotten to turn it back. So apparently all week it's been really bright. But everything in this show is very dark. Literally dark.
There you go. I've got those puns in. So they do have their first kiss. What did you guys think of that? Was it cute? Was it kind of like...
uncomfortable. This whole show makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I do kind of feel like maybe she's pushing him out of his, comfort zone. Like, religion, you're kind of making him do things that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe that's good for him, too, It's hard to say.
Well, I guess it's good for him if he wants to get out.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see
feel
where
like
this
he's
leads.
I don't feel like he's questioning his religion as much as he's trying to not get sucked into her.
That's interesting.
Because I don't feel like he's questioning his beliefs.
Right.
I just feel like she's sort of luring him away, like, oh, a kiss, oh, your family,
I think he might be curious about the experiences that he could potentially miss out on and what he's been missing out on. That's what I get. So I get what you're saying. I just think that maybe he is thinking about all of the things that other people do that he doesn't do. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll have to see where it goes.
He's a teenage boy.
You can't deny blood flow.
Yeah.
You just can't. That's
the best line of the night.
Yes. Some things just happen, you guys.
Yes. My new favorite line. You can't deny blood flow.
So going back to Cal. So we see that Cal, from the get-go, he's kind of telling Sarah that he has to go on 10R business. So I thought he was 8R or whatever. They never even mentioned 10R. I was like, man, we're going higher and higher.
Are there 12 total?
I don't know, but I am 12. Is that what it is?
Are you asking? I'm so glad you said that because I had the same thought. I thought they were all like 8R. So when he was suddenly 10, I was like,
dang, okay. Was that overnight? Was there a ceremony?
Or I was thinking, did I miss something from the last episode? So if both of us caught that, then maybe he did change levels. And how many are there? They've never established.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Except, they said he's
like, 28 R's are like.
Oh my gosh, they're like,
we
what?
10
Well, and we know there are 3 more that he's doing, but presumably no one is at Stephen Meyer's level.
Yes.
So, I wonder if that's where it came from. What if it's because, he was with Stephen Meyer, so he faked himself up another couple levels.
Oh, yeah.
And then there are these fake 3 that are still coming that he's supposed to be transcribing, so that would give us 13 levels, maybe?
Okay, that makes sense.
My working theory right now is that there are 13
calculations.
We're probably going to start writing the Path Bible.
Yeah, we
Or,
should
like,
keep like a little manual.
What do you call that?
Yeah. No, you're right. The Bible,
You know
like
what I mean?
that's
Yeah,
what they
we're gonna
call
make
it for TV shows. So
yeah.
it's not even
there
a
you go,
joke
okay.
about
I
about the
don't wanna
religion. So for anyone who doesn't know, right? So in a writer's room for any TV show, they have what they call the show Bible. So that's anytime they've referred to a character having, let's say, a sibling or having a type of car or anything that they would have to always go back to and reference the exact same way. That's what the show Bible is called.
Love that. Thanks for sharing that. All right, so we see that Cal's actually lying to Sarah, obviously. He goes to see his mama. Yeah, and his mom is played by Kathleen Turner, who I love. I don't know if you guys are Friends fanatics. I love Friends. She played Chandler's dad.
Oh, you're right.
Helena Handbasket.
awesome.
I love her. She is fabulous in this.
I did
And
not even pick up on it. Yes.
her voice is the same. I love it.
Yes.
She's so good.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so we see that it's been 3 years since he's been to that
Yeah.
house. She has a very unkempt home, lots of empty bottles. She's obviously an alcoholic.
She just had a fire, too.
There was a grease fire, and
Yeah.
you can see the remnants from that. And so because of the grease fire, I guess they're kicking her out of her home. Cal wants to put her in assisted living, and she gives him sort of a condition. She's like, all right, fine, I will if you have a drink with me. And he refuses at first. What did you guys get from that? What do you think the history is from there?
Well, I didn't think that he was an alcoholic. At that point, I thought it was that he wasn't allowed to drink because of the religion.
Yes.
And then when alcoholism came up, it felt like, again, even creepier and even ickier because she presumably knew that.
Right.
And was telling him to drink. And he also made a point of telling Sarah later, the last time he fell off the wagon, I think the timing, I'm guessing, he said specifically like 2 years and however many days, but I'm guessing it was the amount of time since he had seen her last.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, this, like I said, every scene, I felt like shake off the ick.
Gross.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad they gave us so much context into Cal's character this episode. We got to, see more where he comes from and his childhood experiences and why he's so attached to Miairism. And it's interesting that so he essentially went into Miairism with his father when he was only 5, but his father escaped
Yeah.
and he stayed.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of an impact would that have on a child? And it only telling to why he wants the power. I mean, I feel like he probably more than anybody feels reliant on Miairism at
Yes.
this point, you know?
Absolutely.
He needs for this to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
And they said also that it was like Stephen Meyer raised him as a son. So, I mean, that connection, yeah.
And he even jabs it in further. He's like, that was the only true parent that I had. Like,
Yeah.
dang, hurt your
that's
mom
tough.
more. Yeah, so we see that, she's jabbing at him, saying,
Right.
you're following a quack, you're a quack. And she,
Right.
puts that out to the limits. And then he blows up on her.
man, that
That was
scene.
so good. Like, it was chilling. It was did you think it was harsh? Was it justified?
I thought it was necessary.
Necessary.
Because I think we've already seen his violent outbursts with Mary's dad and whatever else.
True.
I think there's a lot more to Cal than we see at the surface right now. I think he might have more of a violent past or violent tendencies, and we're just gonna have to wait to see how that plays out. But man, that was such an intense scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked later that she was saying how she was like, talking about his dad, she was like, we talked about you, he was like, Cal is our son, not that man's.
Yeah.
And this guy clearly left Miairism. He's not around anymore, so I wonder what that is.
Well,
you know?
he's dead.
He's
Yeah.
dead, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Obviously, he
Yeah.
defected. He's not around.
That is a good point.
So that's what I was wondering,
point.
And Cal's mom obviously has a reason to think this is a cult. She straight up was telling that lady,
Oh, yeah.
he's leading a cult,
Yeah.
cult,
Yeah.
And so she has good reasons. So I wonder if maybe she had reasons from, his dad's passing after he came back. Like, what did he tell her,
That's a
So-
really, really good
Yeah, I
point.
didn't think
did
about
not
that.
think of that. That's great. You're right.
Can't wait to see what happens there. And I like at the end of that, she closes the curtains and she's, she pretty much refuses. She's like, too much light,
Yeah.
The symbolism there was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So Cal calls Sarah when he's super trashed. I mean, what's happening there? What do you guys think is happening between the two of them?
I was shocked. So at that point, I figured, okay, Sarah's used to this, or she's had experience with this before, because
Right?
I would never think that he would admit this to anyone.
Yeah, and
I mean, I
she
don't
was
know.
the go-to.
She is the go-to.
So that made me think, well, if she's accepting of this slip up, maybe, just maybe she would have been accepting of Eddie's true, I don't know, feelings towards Miarism. I don't know. I mean, she didn't seem too upset about it, and she, told him get a cab, sleep it off, but she wasn't like, what, you're drinking, like, that's not right, you're supposed to be a leader. I feel like maybe she's either favoring him a little bit, and maybe she's being more harsh on Eddie than she is on Cal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference between cheating on someone or thinking that they have and being drunk. So I can see that. But it definitely gives us a different...
I mean, when you put it that way, I guess.
I mean, I also would like to add for anyone who's watching, if they noticed I sort of snickered while you were talking about that, it's because our engineer put up a sign for us, a new hashtag if you guys want to use it, Teenage Blood Flow.
Thank you.
This comment earlier, so you can tag us at AfterBuzz TV and
Best part of our show.
for teenage_blood_flow. So feel free.
I will definitely be using that hashtag all week, folks.
We'll see if that will start trending. But
It is what it is, nature.
But I think that she's definitely, I feel like there's this double standard where, I mean, clearly because she took the call outside and didn't
She's all
say.
sneaky.
Yeah, she was sneaky.
Right? I mean, she's sneaky, and then she's all mad that Eddie might be. She still thinks so. Obviously, she still thinks Eddie's unfaithful.
Of course,
exactly.
And also her dad too. What did you guys think of that?
Right.
Her dad kind of gave a gentle little talking to. It wasn't like super mean because coming from a dad, it could have been worse. I think.
But I thought it was cold.
Really?
Yeah, because he
liked
said
it.
it's okay for me, but when it's my daughter, I feel different. I thought it was cold.
Yeah.
I was like double standard, right?
That too.
Yeah, okay. And then also, speaking of her dad, did you guys pick up, there was that line that her mom said, Sarah's mom said, she said, catching daddy was the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, okay, so I had to go back and re-listen to that because first I thought she said catching Eddie, like they saved him.
Right.
And then I clearly heard the second time catching daddy, and I'm like, okay.
Catching
daddy.
cheating. It took me a second for my
Oh,
brain. Oh, you guys really still didn't
get it! Girl, I'm so glad. I was going to ask you guys, I was like, ask them, what does this mean?
Okay,
catching
Okay.
daddy,
the best thing
meaning
that ever
when
happened
she
to us.
caught him cheating was the best thing that happened to their relationship. So it drew
'Cause they
them
could
presumably
build
closer
Zoe.
together.
Glad you're here.
Gosh, okay.
So glad you're here.
I did not get that either.
Thanks. I'm glad you're here too. That makes me feel better. All right.
And if you guys would like to comment, tweet us, send us a message on YouTube.
Let us know if you guys thought that, because I totally didn't get that. So yeah, he gives him a little talking to. But yeah, I thought that was like kind of weird. I don't know.
Again, it gives another weird dimension to this whole thing of like that you're talking about your spouse cheating with your child.
Yeah.
It all feels gross and weird. I mean, every scene I know I'm like repeat gross.
Gross. We're very uncomfortable watching this show. But okay, so we know that Eddie, we know Eddie's not having an affair, but he does go to meet Allison again. Were you guys kind of surprised he went to go see her? I wasn't expecting that.
I think at this point, he's so desperate to keep his family together that the only way he could get her to stop was to try to convince her in person. I don't buy that he is fully, has done a 360. I think he still has the doubts, but he's willing to set them aside for his family. And as we see, Allison's not giving up that easily.
Yeah.
She's all he has, or he's all she has.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he tells her that, Jason committed suicide, but she
believe it.
immediately, disregards that. She's like, no, that's not true. And then she but she shows up at his house.
Yeah.
Again, very creepy, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's really desperate.
For help.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought what they were showing by his going to see her in person was that it showed his subconscious still had doubts because otherwise, he would have just stopped talking to her. He would have called her even.
True.
But his subconscious wanted to see her and see if she could draw him in again. So that was my theory.
But, I mean, he did give that was a threat. He was like, what did he say? He was like, I will kill you.
Yeah.
Or he said, I will kill you. There was an expletive in there.
Yeah.
He was like, this is not a threat. He said, you don't know where I come from.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Supposed to mean, have you killed someone before? What's happening? So that kind of scared me a little bit, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's intense.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting catch, too, because he grew didn't he grow up in it, or no? He came
He
later.
didn't grow up in it,
When
yeah.
did he come later? Did
After
they
his brother
establish-
died.
That's what it was. I'm sorry. Why why did I blink out on that? I don't know.
So
There's a
yeah.
lot to remember.
As I was
so.
saying it, I was like, wait, this isn't right.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously he went through a
He has
lot
a
of stuff
history,
before that
right? So we
happened.
will find out what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, mentioning Allison before we go, we are going to have a special guest, the actress who plays Allison. Her name's Sarah Jones. She's going to join us May 4th. So you guys tune in, tweet us if you have questions. You can hashtag AfterBuzz TV The Path, or tweet us directly and let us know if you have questions for her.
Yay.
Awesome.
It'll be so great to have her.
I know. I'm so
And for
excited.
those of you who love other shows about extreme religion, she was also on the show Big Love about
Yes.
the polygamists.
Yes.
So can't
So
wait.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so we all have questions for that, correlating the two. Okay, so getting back to the beginning, where Cal kind of drops it into Sarah, where he's like, oh, by the way, or no, she asks, she's like, what happened with Miranda Frank? And he's like, oh, we brought her back. And she's like, wait, what? You know, we're not supposed to do that, you know, and he's like, you know, she refused to unburden,
Right.
which I guess
Means
means
confess. I
yeah,
think.
exactly. Yeah. So she wouldn't say that she had an affair with Eddie, and so they brought her back for that.
Who just nabbed her. Yeah.
Right?
Ugh.
I mean, that's kind of totally nuts.
And they kept her as a prisoner in a locked room.
Yeah. So they kept her in as a prisoner, and she's got some green juice.
Yeah.
What is the deal with the juice? Can you hear me, people? What is up with the juice? I'm scared.
Oh my
I was thinking drugs were in it, that it's the same thing maybe
It
that they
has to
had
be
in
because
Peru.
okay, last episode, the scene with Eddie and his 14-day treatment, I didn't actually notice that juice, that green juice, until they played it again, or I saw the flashback, something like that, and he was like refusing it,
And it splattered all over the
splattered.
eyes.
So what is this juice? Is it must be medicated?
Or I wonder if it's like truth serum.
That's what I was thinking, because she was like, you have to eat it fresh. It's the only way it works.
Right.
So
So
it
clearly
works.
there's
So I was
something
thinking,
in
yeah,
it.
and what they're trying to get her to do is confess. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. And they were probably trying to get Eddie to do the same thing when he was going through his
Right.
psychotherapy or whatever.
But then come to think of it, if it is truth serum,
Right,
he
he wouldn't-
couldn't have
yeah.
confessed. But presumably he had to drink it while he was in there.
Right.
So maybe not truth serum. It must be some sort of drug. That
I think it's some kind of drug.
I think it's a drug.
Ugh. So Eddie went through his 14 days of like psychotherapy or whatever that was. He comes out, and Sarah's still kind of like cold to him. Why do you guys?
Understandably.
Yeah. Okay. So did you think? Because I kind of
He's
thought
a
like,
cheater.
okay, he's gonna go through this. He's
a
gonna come
cheater.
out. Once a cheater, always a cheater. But I mean, you said if he goes through this, you're gonna be okay
Right,
with it,
that's
right?
the thing.
I mean, that was a thing.
But
So you
surprise,
can't
you
like
can't-
make him go through it and then still be mad, right?
But
Yeah.
surprise, you can't turn off feelings, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And
You're
this
right.
is the same thing. Like I said, I love these extreme religion shows. I love watching like the Sister Wives and all these polygamous things. And it's the same thing with them. As much as your religion tells you it's okay for like your husband to sleep with other women,
Yeah.
when it happens, there's jealousy and doubt. And so
Right.
in this religion, it's not even acceptable. So it's not so easy to say, okay, you go away for 14 days and I'll turn off my feelings. Of course, she
true.
still has feelings.
Right. And it was probably worse because she knew the whole Miranda thing was going on. And, you know, like she knew, because at that point she already knew that Miranda was there, right? Like at
Yeah,
the
I
campus
think,
and being held.
but I think she wasn't able to turn off her feelings at all because
From the
even in
get-go, she wasn't
even
gonna forgive
since
him?
Yeah, I think even since he had been in.
so mean.
And I loved when he mentioned the double standard too, like, "Hey, I did what you said. Turn off
Right.
your feelings."
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I mean, she wants to connect with Eddie, which apparently in Miarism is bed yoga, right? It's like couples
Yes.
bed yoga.
Best ones ever.
They're just like,
AKA dry humping. Let's just say that.
So, yeah.
Interesting
Connect.
scene.
that was interesting. She
Yeah.
would not give it. She would not give it up.
No.
right? Poor guy.
Not at all.
Again with the blood flow. She was not giving it
Hashtag
up. Yeah.
TH_blood_flow.
I mean, she wasn't giving it up. I thought it was like a little harsh. Like I kind of felt like throw him a bone at least. You know, he went through throw him a bone. Oh my god, that was too easy. He went through 14 days of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he did it for you. He never actually admits to. I assume he never actually admits to having an affair.
No,
Or
see,
do
I
you
think he
does?
does.
Do you think he did?
Yeah, because that's
Through
I
a
thi-
thing.
And because that's why they nabbed her. So he said he had to have said it was with her. Yeah, I think he admitted.
Well,
Really? Because I
I
think they
mean,
nabbed
in
her
the
before
treatment-
when she even just thought of it and she wanted to look into her, and so
No,
they
I
went
think
down.
he
Really?
made up an affair. Yeah.
Yeah, he did for sure.
Yeah.
Really
Because that's why they even
that's
went
why-
after her in the
Yeah.
first place.
interesting. Okay, I mean that totally makes sense because then he does go back to find her, I guess. Okay, so before that, my favorite scene was when Sarah goes back the second time.
Yes, to Miranda.
So good. She calls her awful things, and she's like, "You're ruining my family." And then she's like, "Drink up," and she runs out. I thought that was so good. Thank you, Michelle Monaghan, for that. I feel like I'm watching a master acting class. I thought that was so good. And so Sarah eventually tells Eddie, she can't hold it anymore, that Miranda's there, and he goes to find her. And right when she says Miranda Kelly, he like zones out. It's obviously affecting him. It's a big deal. So he goes and lies to Isaiah, I think, that guy that was like guarding the door.
Yeah, I remember.
He's like, okay, and then he just walks away. It was also really easy to get that guy away.
Yeah, so again, we have the whole level thing.
Yeah,
so
true, yeah.
you have to be a 6R, I believe, to go into that room. Right. And I guess Eddie's not at that level yet, but he says that he has, special permission
from Cal.
Which is funny because, where is Eddie? I guess this is why we need our cheat sheet.
Yeah, we gotta start our Bible now.
Well, we know now he's below a 6R, if I'm
right.
if
Well,
I'm
because
not
I thought
mistaken.
he was 6, but Sarah's 8.
And
that's
Sarah's
right.
8? Oh, I thought Sarah was 7. I don't know now.
So if we thought Sarah was 7 and then Cal was 8 and now he jumped to 10.
Oh, I thought Cal was 5.
No, not Cal.
Cal.
Eddie.
I'm sorry, Eddie was 5.
Right.
I thought Eddie was 5.
So I think we've established we think that Cal jumped.
Yeah.
Maybe,
so was he
I think
always
so.
higher than Sarah, or were he and Sarah at the same? See, I thought they were at the same level before because
That's
able to
interesting.
talk to each
I
other.
don't know.
We'll have to
Or
go
maybe
back
she was
and
just like
find
right below
out.
him. I don't know. Right below him. All right. It's too
We
easy.
do. We need a list of what their levels are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to see, we can track how much they jump each week. So
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Follow them in
I
their
guess they
journey.
can't jump that much.
Their journey of the path.
The ladder.
The ladder. Yeah, there you go.
They can
the
only
ladder.
jump to 13 by our rough estimate. So.
Okay, so yeah. So going back. So, okay, Eddie sees Miranda there, and she's lying on the ground, and she's passed out. And at first...
Oh, so I think she's dead. You think
I
she's
think
just
she's
passed
dead
out?
too, but I hope not. I think her character's necessary right now. So I don't know if they would kill her off.
Right.
But I thought, as soon as he was opening the door, I'm like, she's dead.
Right.
She didn't
Yeah. When he was
answer.
opening the door, I thought she was dead.
Yeah.
When I saw the bottle, I was like, that girl broke that bottle, slit her wrist, and
Yeah.
she's gone. But then he flipped her over, and she had blood in her mouth. I was
Right.
like, so did she eat the bottle? No. So I'm
Was she
assuming, she was
poisoned or
poisoned or something. Yeah. And then I was thinking, I wonder if Sarah had anything to do with that, Like, did that just drive her,
It's a possibility.
So you guys both thought she was poisoned.
Well,
then?
I mean,
I
I'm
thought
just
she
hoping
did
she
herself in. I thought it was
I
suicide.
thought so too until I
Oh.
saw the blood from her mouth. And is that something that happens?
No, I just
thought
saw
that
the
was to
bottle.
show.
was
Wasn't
open.
there blood from her
No,
There's
you're
blood
right.
from her
There was
mouth.
blood.
Okay.
And I guess I thought that I didn't need a
They just
reasonable
wanted to
answer for
make
that.
sure that she's
Yeah,
good
right.
dead.
I guess my mind was just like, that's just the other. But you're right. Like now that you say it, of course
I don't
they would
know.
do
I
more
mean, we
than
don't
just
know.
do that.
We don't know. Maybe someone else paid a visit before Eddie and abused her.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, we don't.
well, Cal's not there,
Right.
so
But what I was thinking was interesting was that it is Cal because it seemed like Sarah was kind of against the idea of even bringing Miranda back.
Yeah.
She was like, we don't do that. If people want to go, they go. So I kind of like that. So I feel like maybe Meirism at its core is pretty pure. Maybe it could be, but it's sort of like these bad seeds, like people like Cal who take advantage of sort of what happens with a lot of religions.
I was gonna say supposedly if you believe all that, wouldn't you say then that's everything?
Exactly. All these other religions do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, it could be him that's sort of maybe turning it in like a cultish way, bringing people back when they're not supposed to be, forcing things upon people. So, I'm wondering if he's going to make it sort of like a bad religion, not bad religion. It's Lady Gaga. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's mainly it. Is there anything that we didn't cover?
I think that's a great point that you just
made.
made. Cal's definitely taking it in a different direction, and I think the detective's going to play a pretty big role in revealing these different secrets that he holds. I'm not sure if it'll be anytime soon. I think they're going to stretch that out a little bit.
I think so too. And I don't know. I feel like the religion Meirism was cultish before. Maybe it's taking it further. But I don't know. I get the impression that they've kidnapped people before. I mean, especially if we believe that they've killed people. So maybe Sarah
true.
just has wanted to believe it's pure, but it hasn't been. Is that possible then?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because I think this came from like sort of like a hippie era, right? Like it started
Yeah,
in the 70s,
yeah.
they said. A lot of the things they do and say are kind of hippie-ish, So, yeah, I'm curious to see, if it is like good or not
Right.
good, or yeah. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I could totally subscribe to that, you know? Like, I mean, not subscribe, but you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's like a good thing. Like, you know, the things that they're doing are good, you know, and with like a lot of other religions. But yeah, I can't wait to see what Cal does. Yeah, any other predictions that you guys have?
Predictions. Oh my, that would be.
Are we gonna get some more of what is that kid? There was a kid that Cal went after. He's like took from the rich guy's house. I can't remember his
you're
name.
right. We didn't see him
We
at
didn't see him at all. The kid
The
with the drug
drug addict.
addict. Yeah, the drug.
yeah.
Are we gonna get him back? Do you guys think?
I don't think
Yes.
so. I don't think so.
Cut him out real quick.
You know, and I don't even remember what I said last week, so maybe last week I was like, we're never seeing him again.
I know, right? Imagine.
We're entitled to change, right? After each episode, new things arise.
Now I've changed. You know, last week I thought we weren't going to see him again, I think, because the point was just to show his power over the rich. So, okay, maybe I take it back.
you're
Maybe
right.
we won't see him again.
Maybe it was-
I thought we were going to
okay.
see that maybe Cal has quote-unquote cured him, and we'd see the results.
Right.
And I think last week I said we would.
Right.
And now I'm saying no.
I don't know.
We're both swapping?
What? I mean, it happens, people.
I don't know. Speaking of the episode, real quick, a homecoming. Why? Why is it called a homecoming? Whose homecoming was it?
Well, Cal went home.
Like to his
Oh,
mom.
okay. All right, I get. All right, okay.
And
I didn't get that.
and Eddie homecoming to Sarah.
Back to home. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
his-
Miranda
his
being
kids,
dragged
yeah.
back. Is that
Back to home.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think that's it. We pretty much covered everything. Thank you guys for joining us. Please comment on our video. If you have questions, if you liked our video, if you agreed with some of
Thumbs
us,
up.
if you have predictions for what's going to happen next episode, definitely give us a like if you liked our video. I think we had 10 on our list.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for joining us. Once again, my name is Susannah Kim. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Susanna_Kim. It's SUSANNAH. Zoe, where can I find you guys?
You can find me on Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. So find me there.
Nice. And I'm Miaira Jennings. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Miaira Jennings. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.